It's a great honor for me to speak to the American Nutrition Association about nutrition and well being, but also about the future of well being as it pertains to uh, not only individuals but communities and societies. Um, to be very honest, when I was training as an internist and seeing patients on a regular basis as both an internist and an endocrinologist, when people came to me and they said, I changed my diet, my arthritis disappeared, or my autoimmune illness disappeared, or my heart disease got reversed, or I had reversal of coronary artery disease, or I went into a remission much faster than expected during cancer treatment. I didn't believe my patients because I had no understanding of how nutrition could have such a powerful effect in not just prevention of disease but reversal of disease. So, of course, in the ensuing years, we now know so much about how food impacts every aspect of our body mind, every aspect of our body mind. And even as we go into this discussion, I think it's important to recognize that even though we speak of the mind body connection, in reality, body mind is a single entity. And it's not even an entity, it's a single activity. It's a changing stream, intermittent stream, that is experienced as ongoing sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, thoughts that we then interpret as mind and body. So, what we call mind is an intermittent stream of thoughts, which is interpretations of what's happening, feelings, emotions, and images, period. Those are the only three mental activities we have: thoughts, emotions, and images, imagination. We make up images from formless being. And then what we call the physical body is an intermittent stream of perceptions, human perceptions, within a narrow bandwidth of experience, less than 1% actually, of the visual spectrum. And that intermittent stream of changing perceptions is called the body. But in fact, body mind, a single unit of a changing activity, which is modified forms of consciousness. Now, that's a whole lot to swallow, and it could take a lifetime to explain. But the main thing is body mind should be a single phrase, just like space time is a single phrase, mass energy is a single phrase, space time is a single phrase. So too is body mind. Any event that we call mental has a physical correlate. Every event that we call physical has a mental correlate. So now, what is the body made of? How does it come into existence? Once upon a time, you were a fertilized ovum that was basically a single cell containing 24,000 genes. Genes being a stretch of DNA that codes for a protein. So think of genes as words, and think of DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, as the alphabet. And unlike the English language, where we have 26 alphabets to fill up all the libraries of the world, all the encyclopedias of the world, all the great literature of the world, all the great scientific explanation of everything ever since humans started to communicate. 26 letters arranged in different ways, and everything is expressible. Well, life has only 4 letters, not even 26. And we can abbreviate them as ATCG, which stands for the 4 nucleotides that make up DNA. Only 4 letters. That's all you need to create the life of a bacterium, a plant, an animal, a fungus, anything, including viruses. Viruses also have 4 letters, except one of the letters is uracil instead of ATCG. One of the letters is different. But basically, 4 letters is the language of life, and 24,000 genes is what it takes to create a human body, human baby. But when the baby comes out into this world, it requires up to 2 million to 20 million extra genes. And these are bacterial genes, and there are microbial genes, there are fungal genes, there are viral genes. This collective genetic information can be called the biome, the microbiome, and the letters are the microbiota, the alphabet. Why is this important? Well, as soon as you put food into your body, it interacts with about 2 million to 20 million bacterial genes. 99% of the genetic information in your body is bacterial. Only 1% is human. So if your body is inflamed, it's because there's inflammation at a very fundamental level, including the level of the microbiome, the genetic information. And if the food is poison, which means anything that unfortunately is manufactured, refined, processed, or has high sugar, or has antibiotics, steroids, hormones, petroleum products, that's going to inflame the microbiome, which in turn is going to interact with the human genetic information, which in turn is going to produce metabolites, which result in chronic and acute inflammation, which predispose us to all kinds of diseases. Once we understand that, then minimizing inflammation in the genome, in the microbiome, actually can reinvent the body. Please pay attention to what I'm saying. 99% of your genetic information in the body is replaceable, which means 99% of the genes that are now orchestrating metabolic activity in your body at this moment are replaceable. 99%. What about the remaining 1%? Well, the remaining 1%, their activity can be upgraded, modified, so that genes that cause homeostasis or self-regulation go up and genes that cause inflammation go down. So even the 1% can be modified. Bottom line, what I'm saying is you don't have the same body that you had last year. Unfortunately, you've recycled it the same way. But if you understand that the body is just recycling all the time, okay, your stomach lining recycles every 5 days. Your skin recycles once a month. Your skeleton recycles every 3 months. And even the DNA, which holds the memories of millions of years of evolutionary time, the actual raw material, the carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, the nitrogen, comes and goes every 6 weeks like migratory birds. So right now I'm speaking to you using this body, which I call my year 2020 model. The body I had last year is gone, it's dead. So death and resurrection are happening in every moment. And once we understand how the recycling is occurring, then we can reinvent the body totally. And I'm not speaking metaphorically, I'm speaking literally, creating a new body every year, which we do anyway, but we do it through the hypnosis of social conditioning by following the same patterns of thinking, feeling, behaving, speaking, and acting in the world. And how do we act in the world? Well, every 24 hours, what do we experience? Eating, breathing, digestion, metabolism, elimination, the 5 sensory experiences, and then how we interpret that, thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories, desires, imagination, personal relationships, social interactions, environment. This is the recycling of the body. Change it and you have a new body. Okay, so that's how nutrition works. nutrition works by directly affecting genetic information and the activity of genes, which then projects as what we call the physical body. But remember, the body is not a noun, it's a verb. It's changing activity. Once you understand that, then you also recognize what geneticists are telling us right now, that only 5% of disease-related gene mutations, or even less, maybe less than 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant. They guarantee the disease. And somebody has Down syndrome or BRCA gene for breast cancer, or there are 2-3 genes for Alzheimer's that are totally predictable and fully penetrant, and like that for cancer as well. But the vast majority of gene mutations that cause chronic illness are actually not fully penetrant, influenced by what I call the 7 pillars of well-being. So here they are. Good sleep. Sleep is one way to reinvent the body, because during sleep, toxins are flushed out, inflammation is decreased, hormones are regulated, metabolism is adjusted, immune function is fine-tuned. Sleep, stress management, meditation, mindfulness, and mindful awareness, whether it's of the body, of the breath, of emotions, of mental space, of the physical body, of the web of relationship. But mindful awareness allows the body to go back into homeostasis. So once again, sleep, meditation, stress management, mind-body coordination through maybe yoga or anything that stimulates the vagus nerve, Tai Chi, Qigong, martial arts, ballet, even acrobatics. It's all very fine mind-body coordination, stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system to override sympathetic overdrive, which causes inflammation. So mind-body coordination, deep breathing, pranayama, exercise, emotional resiliency, social emotional intelligence, and the regulation of our biological rhythms are all very crucial to our well-being. We have 4 basic biological rhythms: circadian rhythms, seasonal rhythms, gravitational rhythms, lunar rhythms, but they're all actually inseparable from each other. So if you take care of one through circadian lighting or grounding, you actually adjust all the others. These are the 6 pillars of well-being that I talk about all the time: sleep, stress management, mind-body coordination, exercise, deep breathing, emotions, and balancing circadian rhythms. There's one thing that I haven't spoken about, and that is equally important, but I don't normally talk about spiritual well-being, because people think of spiritual well-being as something religious or theological. But if by spirit we only mean awareness, then spiritual well-being means one thing: self-awareness or self-realization, to know who you are beyond your projections of subtle body, physical body, and the experience of the world. Where does Ayurveda fit in with this? Because that's the background from where I come, both in nutrition but also in lifestyle medicine. Ayurveda comes from 2 roots: Ayus, which means life; Veda, knowledge. So knowledge of life is Ayurveda. It's not just about health and well-being, of course, very important, but Ayurveda ultimately deals with who we are and how we get rid of existential suffering, which is beyond everything else: physical healing, emotional healing, psychological healing, all important. That you could have all the money in the world, the best relationships in the world, the best physical, mental health in the world, there still is what humans call existential suffering. There's old age, there's infirmity, and then there's what we call physical death. So this is a kind of suffering that only humans experience, not other species. And for this, we need to find out the ultimate truth: who we are beyond our experience of body, mind, and physical universe. Because the body, mind, and physical universe are nothing other than experiences. Who or what is having the experience? And if you go all the way, then It's obviously pure consciousness before it is modified as an individual knower, as an individual mind, as an individual personality, as an individual appearance of a physical body. And for this, we need a deeper dive into the nature of consciousness or self beyond ego, body, mind, personality. That then makes it 7 pillars of well being. 7 pillars. And nutrition affects every pillar. Okay, I mentioned the microbiome and I mentioned body mind as a single entity. Now, it may be very interesting for you to know, perhaps you already know this, but 80% of the serotonin in the body is produced by the gut microbiome. The dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, opiates, there are other peptides like anandamide and other immunomodulators that are all produced by the gut microbiome. So your brain is not just here in the skull. Of course, the brain here speaks in English with an Indian accent, but there's a brain in your heart. You have neurons in your heart. You have neurons in your gut. You have neurons everywhere, in every organ in the body. The body mind is a single entity, constantly changing, and anything that you eat affects both the body and the mind simultaneously because they're the same entity. So Ayurveda fits in here by looking at not only the pillars of well-being, but these activities that we experience every day: eating, breathing, digestion, metabolism, elimination, sensory experience, thoughts, feelings, imagination, memory, desire. All of this is what produces this thing that we call the individual body mind. And we can change it completely. And nutrition plays a very important role because nutrition changes both the biology in the direction of homeostasis and self-regulation. If your food is natural, if it comes directly from the earth, and according to Ayurveda, if it contains the 7 colors of the rainbow and the 6 states of life. Why the 7 colors of the rainbow? Well, the 7 colors of the rainbow represent what we call phytochemicals. Phyto, derived from light, energy of the sun. Phytochemicals are micronutrients, and if your phytochemicals, micronutrients, represent the 7 colors of the rainbow, you're getting directly the energy of the sun, which is captured by plants and then consumed by other species and ultimately ends up as their body. This is direct. Micronutrients, phytochemicals, 7 colors of the rainbow, and 6 tastes of life. So Ayurveda defines 6 tastes: sweet, which is not sugar, but anything that has a sweet aftertaste like complex carbohydrates; bitter, which is green leafy vegetables and other bitter vegetables like bitter gourd and things like kale and all kinds of salads. But bitter is a very distinct taste, just like sweet aftertaste is a very distinct taste. Salt, which is very distinct taste. And then you have other tastes. Astringent, it has a puckering effect, like tea is astringent, coffee is astringent. And then you have, of course, pungent, which is spices like jalapenos and bitter and pungent spices, including everything from jalapenos to red pepper to black pepper to mustard to garlic to think of all the spices that you find in, say, Chinese food or Indian food or Italian food. You'll find these characteristics: sweet, sour, salt, bitter, pungent, astringent. So the combination of astringent butter, the combination of astringent and bitter has an effect on your body that increases metabolism. Bitter, astringent, pungent increases. Have you been to a restaurant? You're seeing people are sweating because they're eating spicy food, and that's why their metabolism is up. So, and if you have Sweet, sour, and salt decreases metabolism. Astringent and bitter has a different effect on metabolism, as does pungency by itself, has a speeding up metabolism. By noticing the combinations of these tastes and these colors, you can adjust the metabolism of the body. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can cool it, you can cause it to go into inflammation. All these are well understood principles in Ayurvedic nutrition. Bottom line, nutrition affects every aspect of your mood, your physical health, whether body is inflamed, whether it's being self-regulated. But when nutrition is combined with the other 6 pillars of well-being, we have access to the ultimate goal of well-being, which can be summarized in 4 phrases: joyful, energetic body, love and compassion in the heart, clear, reflective, alert mind, and lightness of being or lightness of spirit. And that is our sign of holistic well-being. The word health comes from the word holy. And the word holy is not some cunning, self-righteous morality or hypocrisy. Holy means all-inclusive. Everything is included. The environment, the body, personal and social interactions, relationships, environment, anything that we call experience is metabolized into what we call the experience of the body. So Ayurveda says, if you want to know what your experiences were like in the past, look at your body now. This body represents every experience you've had in the past. It's therefore also referred to as the karmic body. Ayurveda also says that if you want to know what your body will look like in the future, you can look at your experiences now. And if your experiences are holistic, which means they give you nourishment at this very basic level that produces joyful, energetic body, what our Eastern wisdom traditions call divine emotions: empathy, compassion, love, joy, equanimity, loss of the fear of death, clear, quiet mind, then automatically the body becomes the representation of pure consciousness or spirit, lightness of being. You don't even realize that you have a body. You just flow. No resistance, no anticipation, no regrets. Just this moment as it is. Pure flow, pure joy, pure ecstasy. So my friends, all the best, and I hope this information is useful. We can explore it much more by going into details of how nutrition affects not only the 3 body types, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, but all the combinations, 9 body types, and how by adjusting just little nuances in color and taste, we can heal the body. Healing, wholeness is all the return of the memory of wholeness. Be well, be whole, and be holy. Thank you.